Okay, let's wait for the millions to come into the room. There we go. We are live. All right, here comes the intro. You're listening to the Grow Clinton podcast. Grow Clinton is a 501c6 nonprofit economic community development and tourism organization based in Clinton, Iowa. For more information, visit growclinton.com. Again, that's growclinton.com. Now, back to the show. What's happening, everybody out there in podcast land? Hey, thank you so much. First of all, you're all beautiful out there. Second of all, thank you so much for listening to the Grow Clinton podcast. That's right, folks. Grow Clinton, nonprofit organization focused on community, economic development, and tourism, based right here in Clinton, Iowa. My name, as always, Andy Sokolovich, the president and CEO of Grow Clinton, joined by Jenny Home from our office. Jenny, what's happening?
Today has been a fun day.
You know, we had an awesome ribbon cutting.
We did.
At noon over at the Village Cooperative for the Watani Club. Watani. Yes. If you recall, in one of our previous episodes, we had two lovely young ladies from that club that joined us for a podcast. And today we cut a ribbon celebrating 100 years of service.
They're so busy, too.
Yeah, they are busy.
Wow.
Your mother, Dolores.
Yes.
She told me that at the end of every month, they sit down and they calculate the shared volunteer hours within that club. And it's not uncommon for it to go beyond the 350 to 400 hours that they dedicate volunteering throughout the community, doing all sorts of cool things.
It's fun to see my mom in action, too.
Yeah,
but, all of those women, they're so hard. They work so hard and they do so much.
And then, of course, I like to talk.
Yes.
So some friendly faces were there. Your mother being one, but Sue Raymaker.
Yes.
Is a longtime volunteer and ambassador for what was the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce and the Convention and Visitors Bureau, now Grow Clinton.
Yes.
As well as Julie Allisey.
There she was.
She is a cornerstone, a pillar, if you will, within the community. She left for a little bit, but now she's back.
Yep.
So we're very excited to have her living over there at the Village Cooperative.
She's involved in everything.
She is. And we were sitting down there talking. And finally, they ended the conversation, not me. I was like, all right, I got to leave. But it's so cozy over there.
It is. It's so cozy.
So, yeah.
And you know what? We talked about the ukuleles. And my Julie Allisey now is a part of the ukuleles, and she plays the bongos.
Ooh, that's awesome. We have our own ukuleles and the bongo player,
yes.
AJ. Very cool. You know what else is awesome, Jenny?
What?
High-speed fiber internet. That's right, folks. The Grow Clinton podcast is powered. Miles Communications. Be sure to check them out. milestelephone.com for all your high-speed fiber internet needs. milestelephone.com, also offering television and telephone services. Thank you, Miles Communications, for powering the Grow Clinton podcast. Friendly face in the studio today, Jenny.
Oh my gosh. Could you say this is like one of your favorite people?
This is one of my favorite people. So I moved to this community in 2012, and long story, I had a side hustle back. Well, actually, it was my only hustle.
Your only hustle?
So it was a direct focus hustle. I was doing some marketing stuff in the community, graphic design, web development, radio commercials, television commercials, and I was trying to promote my business. And one of the things I love to do was walk up and down Riverfront. And I noticed there was a lot of debris that was down in the rocks. And I figured it's probably difficult to get down there and clean that stuff up. So I can't blame anybody, but if I'm going to notice it, I got to do something about it. So I put up a little sign that says I'm cleaning. I had some trash bags, some gloves.
Wow.
And, I went down there from bridge to bridge. I spent an entire day.
No way.
Cleaning, and I had like a dozen bags full of trash.
Oh my gosh.
And I was brand new to the community, so I had no idea where to go with this stuff. So I pulled my truck up to the Chamber of Commerce building at 721 South 2nd Street.
Oh man, what a good decision.
Probably stunk to high heaven because I was out there all day in the heat. It was probably August. It was humid.
What a day.
And cleaned up all this trash. But anyways, I walked into this building and I was greeted by our guest that's in studio today, none other than Grow Clinton's own office coordinator, Karen Friis. Karen, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
You're welcome.
You can move this closer to you if you want to. There you
Karen,
go. Keep comfortable.
On a
Karen
scale of 1
loves
to
doing
10.
this podcast, by the way.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you about doing this podcast?
About maybe a 6.
Oh, that's better than I thought it was going to be.
So for those of you that do not know, Karen is celebrating 30 years of dedicated
Yay.
service to this organization, now known as Grow Clinton, former Chamber of Commerce. But you served in the position of office coordinator for a very long time. And you were also kind of the director of first impressions, because when you walk into our building, again at 721 South 2nd Street, Karen is the first person to greet you. And you have a tremendous amount of institutional knowledge.
Wow.
And we have been able to leverage that knowledge on several occasions when things just weren't documented, or we didn't have a lot of people here with tenure, so nobody recalled certain things. And we go to Karen, and Karen would go, "Oh yeah, I remember that."
She had the backstory.
She still owns a
backstory.
Rolodex. It's on.
Yes,
her desk. Okay.
she does.
Yeah.
And she also has coupons there from 2011.
Yes. So Karen is an integral part of the success of Grow Clinton, and we're taking an opportunity on behalf of this podcast to introduce all of our listeners to our staff. So, Karen, what can somebody expect when they first walk in the door here at the Grow Clinton office and you're sitting there smiling, ready to greet them?
Well, hopefully I'll be able to help them with whatever their question is.
Yeah.
Usually they want to know something tourism wise, or sometimes it's something really that they should go to City Hall for.
Yeah.
But
you feel every topic, every style of question, from when is garbage pickup,
Right.
To what is the benefits of joining Grow Clinton. And I know this because sometimes when you're out of the office, I answer the phone I will talk to somebody and they'll say, "Yeah, I called Pizza Hut on 2nd Street. They didn't answer. Am I getting the number correct?" And it's just, we field those types of phone calls all day long.
Well,
so
and
not
Karen's
only
so professional about it too. I think some of the calls that she gets, I'd be like, "Well, what?" And she, "Oh, well, let me help you out with
especially the sales calls. Because,
Yeah.
my last name's Sokolovich. So if they butcher my name, they're trying to
She
solicit
knows.
something. Yeah.
One of my favorite calls you got, Karen, was, I don't know if you remember this. Somebody called and said, "What day is it?" And you said the date. They said, "No, what day?" What day?
I
Like
try to forget
Monday?
about those calls.
I heard her go, it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I think Karen knows so much about everything too, because she's from around here. So give us some background about you.
Yeah, Karen, we want to know.
Tell us about you.
30 years. You got some
Well,
stories.
Yes.
Well, I'm mostly originally from this area. My parents brought us here when I was still in 3rd grade. Grew up in Comanche. After I got married and had children, we moved to Clinton. And so I lived in Clinton, I'd say most of my adult life, until just about 10 years ago, and came back to Comanche.
Yeah. And then you used to work at Nielsen's.
No,
what was it called?
PFC.
PFC. That's right.
Junior Nielsen's.
Junior
So
Nielsen's.
for people who don't know what that is, what is it?
Promotion Fulfillment Corporation. They did coupon programs, rebate programs. I started out there working in their telemarketing department. They had some catalog companies that people would call in to place orders. That was pre-computers in your home.
Yeah.
And they had this really cool Nestle chocolate catalog. And we were forced to have to try everything
Of course.
that was in the
Yeah.
catalog, so that if people ask questions, we could honestly answer.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
And then the telemarketing department also, they had a whole room full of answering machines, and people would call an 800 number and leave their name and address to get some free product. And then we would listen to those tapes and transcribe them onto mailing labels. And
Wow.
that was just, we would transcribe them, and then they get sent to another department, and then sent to another department, and eventually something goes out, some freebie item to them. And then I bid on a job that was a administrative assistant. So
For the
actually,
Chamber of
they
Commerce.
call them within
Oh.
PFC. We were actually called secretaries back then, and it was still politically correct to use that terminology. And then after doing that for a couple of years, I saw the opportunity to work at the Chamber of Commerce. And even though I didn't know what the Chamber of Commerce did, I knew people who worked there. So I thought, I think I'd like to work with those people. So
Karen,
I gave it a try.
So Karen, after 30 years of dedicated service to the chamber world, what has been some of the biggest changes you've witnessed?
Well, I mean, when I came in, people were just starting to have computers on their desk, and the internet. We had one computer in the office that had the internet. So we had one email address. And so those emails would get passed around to whoever needed to handle them. And so those were the biggest changes when that started to become everybody had the internet on their computers. Everybody had their own email address. And that's when, things changed. You didn't have to mail out memos and make a bunch of phone calls. You could email people.
Yeah.
So, but it did take a long time for everybody else to get the email as well. So for a long time, I still have to call people and send out memos and emails. And now we send out so much less physical mail because we don't need to.
I know Karen is somebody who is really passionate. You have your job. A lot of people go to work, then they just go home, and that's how it is. But Karen is passionate about being a member of the chamber. Why do you see, or a business is being a member of Grow Clinton in the chamber? Why do you see that as a big important thing for them?
Well, not only being a member can help a business in many different ways to be more successful. But what they're doing is helping the community as a whole, because what we do is for the community as a whole. And sometimes, you can't put your finger on exactly what being a member does for you, but if you look at the different things that we do here, it has a part of everything that we do. So they're helping their community, not just themselves, but it also helps them too if they take advantage of the benefits we offer.
Yeah. I mean, we always talk about this in our office. When we have a member join our organization, they want to know what the return on investment is. And we offer a suite of services, and those services far outweigh the value of that investment. So there's an immediate return. However, one of the things that we have to be here at Grow Clinton is flexible, because not every member finds value in the benefits we offer. They maybe have a special request or they need something. So I really look at our organization, Grow Clinton, kind of as the Swiss Army knife of business services, because we have just a little bit of everything. And everybody within this office, Karen included, is a subject matter expert when it comes especially to making introductions and offering referrals. So Karen, can you share a little bit about our policy as Grow Clinton when we have somebody call and seek a referral for a business to provide a product or service? What do we say in response?
Well, we try to always refer a member first. And sometimes, depending on what it is, there might be several members. I always try to give them a couple to choose from and not be, two for one business or another. But we are also empowered here to, if there is no member that can help a person, we can give them non-members. Sometimes we even have to refer them outside of the area completely, depending on what they need or want. We just want to help them. So, of course, member referrals come first, and then you just try to help them.
Yeah. And how often do we receive requests like that?
I used to be able to say daily, but now it's, a couple times a week at the very least.
And that probably has something to do with being able to Google and all of that, right?
Right. Well, I see my job now as I Google for other people, people that don't have smartphones.
We
or
get
computers.
Those calls all the time. I mean, usually it's people of a certain age that aren't comfortable with technology.
Right. And I have a few regulars that call anytime they have a question about anything, they call me. They're always disappointed if I don't answer the
It's
phone.
true.
Because other people in the office don't realize some of the things that I help people with. And so they're kind of mystified by some of the questions. But I just say, well, let me Google that for you.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting, actually. Sometimes that's how I find out about businesses that I never knew about. Just going to Google and looking things up.
I field some of those questions when Karen's at lunch. And the first thing is I'll say, thank you for calling Grow Clinton. How can I help you? Is this Karen? No.
Where is she?
Where is she? Yeah. So Karen's a very important part. And she is, like you said, the director of first impressions.
Yeah. So when you walk into our office and you're brand new to the community, one of the things that we are creating here at Grow Clinton, if you're familiar with our office, we have 721 South 2nd Street, which is the main entrance to Grow Clinton. However, immediately to our north in the same building on the first floor, there's 719 South 2nd Street. We are actually taking over that side of the building and we are converting it into a tourism center where we will house our director of placemaking and tourism. We're going to sell some Grow Clinton swag as well as some Visit Clinton swag, hats, hoodies, t-shirts, things of that nature. But my point is we do receive a lot of foot traffic from people that come in and just want to learn more about the community, what we have to offer, our history, what amenities we have that they can access. Where can they go see a live professional theater show? Obviously, they can go up to the Showboat Theater. So it's important upon all of us. It's important that all of us know what's going on. But really, Karen's the one that's able to share the most information. And with your tenure here in this office, there's no doubt that you can do it more effectively than the rest of us.
Well, also, I put together the weekly events email. So sometimes I do have a leg up on everybody else because they send me their information.
Speaking of that, what would you say to somebody who's maybe out there posting on social media that there's nothing ever to do around here?
Well, if they would be smart not to say that to me, because I will tell them what there is to do in this area. There's so much going on every weekend, and anybody out there, if you don't receive the weekly email from Grow Clinton, it isn't restricted to just members. You can call us or email us and give us your email address, and we'll be happy to share that information with you because we want you all to stay around and find out what there is to do in Clinton. And there isn't a week that goes by where there isn't some kind of an event happening. Our email is one of the better places to find out about it, but
so much to the fact that we often have trouble scheduling our own stuff because we're always in direct competition of some other event. So we're going back and forth trying to find dates, but Karen puts out the weekly email that goes out on Monday morning, and that contains a list of things that are happening in the community, as well as some supportive documents and images to highlight some of our members, whether they're offering a special, they have something going on. And then once a month, we send out our large newsletter, which has some information regarding our successes and our scope of work from the previous month, leading into some amazing things here in the future. So, Karen, what excites you the most about working at Grow Clinton?
Probably the thing that's kept me around for 30 years is that every day is different.
Every day is different.
You never know who's calling in or walking in the door, and it can be a lot of fun. I mean, it is a lot of fun. We also have a lot of fun here, so that's a little different than some jobs you might have.
Yeah, it's a very unique work culture.
Yep.
We have to maintain our flexibility, and now that we have merged, so when you first started, there was the Clinton Regional Development Corporation that focused on economic development, specifically industrial development, and then the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce. Now that we've combined those organizations into Grow Clinton, you hear more about the economic development side of things too, which is interesting.
I've always been interested in all of that stuff, and over the years, I've been involved with the CRDC in different ways with my administrative duties. There was a time when I was sitting in on the CRDC's board meetings and taking minutes and helping them with some of those things. And that's how I started to learn more about it. And it's fantastic. People in their everyday lives have no clue about the things that are being done behind the scenes to bring new businesses and industries here. It's exciting, and we can't always talk about it.
No, some of it is confidential.
Very confidential, but it's exciting when we see things come to fruition, and sometimes it takes a very long time.
Yes, it is not a sprint, it is a marathon. Yep. And I always love when we get the chance, like we're doing now, towards the end of our fiscal year, which starts again 1 July, will be our 25-26 fiscal year. But we have our annual meeting coming up on the 25th of June. And if you're interested in attending, that is again the 25th of June. We are having it at the Wild Rose Casino. We will open the doors at 4 o'clock. It is free to members. There is a charge for non-members, and you can register at growclinton.com. But one of the things we're going to reveal is our scope of work and accomplishments from the previous fiscal year. And one of the things that I always find just to be mind-blowing is the amount of money that's invested in this community over the course of 12 months. And when you're talking about like Nestle Purina Pet Care, we have a massive turnaround coming up in 2026, basically a huge maintenance shutdown at Lyondell-Basell. It's going to bring anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 additional workers to our community. That means every hotel is going to be booked. Every Airbnb is going to be booked. Every apartment, everything, because those people are going to squeeze into those locations and collect their per diem. But the amount of money that's invested during that time that they're here is massive. You have Atlas Roofing Corporation at $250 million investment and 150 new jobs. Super 8 Logistics going out to the rail park, millions of dollars worth of infrastructure improvements out of the rail park, from the extension of rail to the construction of 36th Avenue South, utility extensions from all of our utility partners, and the list goes on and on and on. And it's just amazing to sit back and look at the number. It's jaw-dropping. I mean, we're talking billion plus dollars getting invested in our community in the course of 12 months.
It's
and
crazy.
People don't realize that because it's not their part of their reality.
On Facebook complaining about nothing ever happens here.
Right.
There's never any new jobs. There's nothing to do. And they're wrong.
And when you're talking about all of that, what I think about is how many questions Karen fields about that, and how many people are going to be getting a hold of Karen. And she's the front line. I mean, for our organization, you call, you're going to get Karen, and she's got the answers for everything. Over the course of your 30 years, what are some of your favorite memories?
Oh gosh, mostly my favorite memories have to do with the people that I've worked with over the years. Those are the best ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a great place to meet some of the world's best people. I mean, that's what we were talking about, Julie and Sue and Dolores, and specifically Julie and Sue had long tenured either partnerships or relationships with this organization. Julie working here professionally for a very long time. But one of the coolest things about being a member of Grow Clinton and being a staff member of Grow Clinton is the partnerships and the relationships you build, because you get to meet people, and that's the best part, but also understanding the behind the scenes discussions that take place. And it gives you just kind of this eye-opening experience as to how communities continue to develop and grow.
And they're people that you genuinely care about. And
my gosh,
you get to know them, and it's not just business. I mean, that's part of being in a small town, I guess. But also, I mean, to think about how many people Karen knows through all of this and how many people she's met through all of this. But I mean, we can say that, you meet people you really genuinely care about, and you really want to see them succeed.
And then Karen, we got a congratulations on 30 years. Thank you for serving Clinton from Greg on Facebook.
Aw.
Greg.
No, Fear.
Greg Fear.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
Hi,
so
Greg.
that's substantial. I don't think you realize, you may realize, you're just being humble, but 30 years of dedication to a single organization doesn't happen very often anymore. The days of like working for a single employer and receiving your gold watch at the end of the tunnel, those days are kind of over. People job hop, and it's not uncommon to see somebody in their 30s on their third, fourth, fifth
Jeez.
employer.
Yep.
But that be dedicated to our community. And I will say community because Grow Clinton and the predecessor, the Chamber of Commerce, has always been a community focused organization. And so I consider your service time a service to this community, not just to your employer. And we greatly appreciate it. And we don't ever want you to leave.
No, Karen.
So you're not allowed to go anywhere.
You're stuck with me for a while yet.
Yes.
And she is totally, loyal. That's what I noticed about Karen too, is that she's totally loyal to her job, loyal to the people she works with, and really, really, really cares about the work that she does.
Yeah. And now we're not going to recognize your little green car buzzing around town because you got rid of it. You got yourself a new ride.
Yeah, I can be a little bit more anonymous.
Yeah.
She's rebranding.
But it's a red
Yeah.
car, so I don't know.
It's maroon. When you said you were getting red, I was thinking like fire engine red.
Well, it
That's
is
like a
red.
maroon-ish.
No.
It's subtle.
It's a subtle red.
Yes.
All right.
She also got new furniture on the same day. I don't even know if I
my
know her
gosh.
anymore.
Did you rob a bank? What's
Right.
going on?
What's going on?
It took like 3 months to get the
Yeah.
furniture. They had my money, but I didn't
Yeah.
have my furniture.
Well, Karen, again, if anybody has any questions, whether it's related to Grow Clinton, specifically about your membership in our organization, or really anything you want to know about our community, reach out to Karen. I have her email address actually in the show notes here. So people will be reaching out to you. But our number at Grow Clinton is 563-242-5702. Again, that's 242-5702. And if we can't help you, we'll go to the magic Google and we'll try to look it up. But it's amazing when you're out of the office, some of the questions that we get calls on, like just blown away. But actually, it's really cool because, and I'll finish the story and then we'll close the show. But the other day, you were on the other line, the phone rang, and I picked it up and I said, "Thank you for calling Grow Clinton. This is Andy." And she goes, "Oh, hi, my name's so-and-so. And, I was originally from the area way back when I was a kid, and we relocated and I got married and we had some kids. But now my daughter is about ready to get married. And she wants to get married along the Mississippi River.
Oh.
And we are planning, because we still have family on that side of the state, we are planning to have a wedding. And I think it was like August or something like that of next year. And they're going to get married in the Eagle Point Park Lodge.
Beautiful.
But she had so many questions about different vendors, DJ service, caterers. And I was able to help her out through our CRM, our customer resource management tool that we use. And I was able to provide her with everything she was looking for. And she was so excited and so pleased by the level of service that we offered here. And it was just so cool to be able to talk to somebody who's excited about coming back here, wants to be married out behind the lodge, right there on that back patio, facing one of the widest portions of the Mississippi, and soak it all in. And she was very excited to come back to the community, and void of Grow Clinton here to be able to do stuff like that. She probably would have been just looking at Google
doing
and
it
not
herself,
knowing who to go to. But part of our membership benefits is the opportunity for us to refer. So of course I gave her all of our members' contact information, and some of which she did not know the businesses, but she heard good things, and she's going to be reaching out to them and securing their services for a beautiful wedding next August.
She's going to love it. I went to a wedding right there, and it was gorgeous, beautiful. We talked about this the last time we were on a podcast, but people don't realize what we have here. It's so beautiful, and there's so many
a destination.
Andy got married there.
I was married.
Oh.
It was stressful.
Stressful.
I don't remember a lot of it. No, no, my wife was fine. She's very particular what she wanted.
That's your day.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day. We had amazing weather, and that this time wedding season, as we're coming into it, that lodge is just so cool, and what a neat, aesthetically appealing and attractive venue to get married in, right in our own backyard. So,
and I think about Karen, and over these 30 years, how many businesses have come and gone, and how much information you store in your head about all of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't help it. I have, we don't really have to remember phone numbers anymore because we have our cell phones.
True.
But I have so many phone numbers stuck in my head that
it is bad because my son,
the way it is.
my mother texted me yesterday. So my son's baseball team played in a tournament I
Tournament.
say that weird, but that's my East Coast. A tournament down in Rock Island at Epperly Field, and they won 13U boys. They took home the championship. So my mom sent a text, and I said to my son, I said, well, you text your nana. She sent a text congratulating you. And he said, oh, okay. I said, I have her number on my phone, but what is it again? And I sat there and I was like, I have no idea what my mother's number is.
Isn't that?
I know my wife's number only because I pick up prescriptions for her.
Yeah.
And they ask you for the patient's last four of
numbers.
their numbers of their telephone number. But it is crazy how we just don't know.
I don't know my mom's cell number. It's mom. It says mom.
Right.
215-926-5419. That was my childhood telephone number.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still in my mind.
I can't say that because my mom still has a landline and it's still the same number.
Oh my gosh. Dolores.
I know. Hey, she's dependable though.
All right, Karen. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. See, it wasn't that bad. And I bet you don't even believe we've been recording and talking for 30 minutes.
I don't even believe that. How pleasant.
Yeah, how pleasant. We have another podcast coming up tomorrow.
Yes, we do.
We have Luke from the Houseman Group.
Yep.
Who's going to talk to us about insurance and all the stuff that they offer.
I love learning about all these new places.
So we're very excited about that.
Cool.
And then we have a couple more episodes. We'll be interviewing some more of our staff.
Yep.
Again, we have the annual meeting coming up June 25th. Secure your seat at growclinton.com.
I got to say, dueling pianos.
Dueling pianos is going to be super cool. So we try to have fun here at growclinton.com. It's not your typical rubber chicken laid back.
No.
Well, it is laid back, but it's not your stuffy kind of annual meeting. It is fun. It is casual attire.
It won't be baseball food this year.
No.
Yeah.
COVID's over. We don't need to do that
Well, we're
anymore.
moving indoors only because every year in the past 2 years, we have sweat bullets because for some reason the annual meeting falls on the hottest day of the year. And being
that
outside
shouldn't be in June.
Last year, Karen and I think we almost died.
Yeah, it was there. I mean, I was seriously worried about some of the people because, we had those like misters out and everything.
Yes.
But once you commit to having it outside, there's no going back.
You can't.
I mean, you can't just go, it's hot. Everybody come inside because it's a large group. So, but this year,
great.
Wild Rose, June 25th, growclinton.com. Check it out. Capture your seat. Again, non-members, you can come, but it's going to cost you a little bit. But you can come out and see what Grow Clinton is all about. Jenny, thank you so much for being a co-host.
Thank you.
Karen, you're a rock star. Stay awesome, okay?
I'll try.
Everybody out there in podcast land, you guys stay classy and enjoy this weird weather we're having. I don't quite get it. Sweating yesterday, freezing on Saturday, super cold with spit and rain today.
Yep.
I don't understand it. All right, everybody. My name's Andy Sokolovich. I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Thank you for listening to the Grow Clinton podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on all your socials. Until next time, see ya. All right, let me stop this. And we are still live. I need to export this audio. All these steps, and if I forget one, no bueno. No bueno. All righty. Here we go. Ending.